table. Thank you. I'm Rob Giampapa, joined by Lexi Bolton of Patriot High School. Lexi, how you doing today?
I'm doing very good today. How are you?
Terrific, terrific. Well, let's take me back. How did you get into playing lacrosse?
I got into playing lacrosse because originally I had been playing basketball, in the little leagues, and one of my teammates just out of the blue was like, "Hey, do you want to try this new lacrosse sport?" And I had never heard of it before because at the time I was only 8 years old, so I'd never heard of lacrosse, but I'd played a lot of sports anyway, so I was like, hey, why not add another? And so I tried it, and I remember after my first practice, I ran up to my parents, and I was like, Mom, lacrosse is the bestest sport ever. And she'll tell you that too. And at the time I was a really good swimmer too. And my mom told my swim coach that I loved lacrosse so much, and he's like, well, so much for swim. He knew at that point it was over, but it definitely turned out really well for me because I loved it.
You could say that. Well, you spent 2 years in Arizona?
I did.
And you played lacrosse there?
Mm-hmm.
What were the differences between playing here and playing in Arizona?
It was very different in Arizona because here lacrosse was pretty much established. There were a good amount of teams around. It was still growing. It's bigger now, but it was still pretty established back then. And when I moved to Arizona, it was just beginning. It was brand new. There were maybe 10, 12 teams in the state. That was it. And there's about 2 or 3 travel teams. So that was it. And it was definitely it was much more competitive in Virginia. So I went there and I was only an 8th grader playing on a high school varsity lacrosse team as an 8th grader, and I ended up one of the main stars on the team. And it was just kind of strange because it made me learn how to take control of a game and how to be a leader as an 8th grader. And I taught some seniors how to play lacrosse. So it was very interesting coming in as an 8th grader and trying to give tips to these girls who were 5 years older than me and 4 years older than me. So it was definitely a different experience, but I think it really taught me to, instead of just kind of be one of the players, to kind of stand out and take over.
Well, coming back here, you play in the northern region where lacrosse is the dominant sport. What is it like playing here? How does that prepare you as you move forward to college?
Playing in the northern region, especially once you get to the regional games, it's a much, much higher level of competition. And I think playing with that is really good to just prepare for what college is going to be like. So it's definitely a step up, and it forces me to, try harder and dig deeper, and it just pushes me to be that much better.
Talk a little bit about this season. You all had a terrific season, made it to states. What did you think about this year?
This year was a special year, I think, because our team consisted of 12 seniors, and majority of those seniors, we've grown up playing lacrosse. We started in the rec leagues together, and we kind of aged up together. So we had been playing for, some of us, 10 years, 8 years. So this was kind of the last time we were all together. So it was a really special year. And the fact that we made it to states for the first time was really awesome to be able to do that with the girls we started with.
Well, I saw you play at the regional Final Four against Robinson. You took over that game late, try to bring the team back and put them back in it. What do you feel that you do best on the lacrosse field?
I think my strengths on the lacrosse field are definitely my field vision. I think my transition game is very strong because I think playing basketball and other sports helps me to look, there's patterns of where to look at. So I can read which teammates are going to be open very well so I can get them the ball. And I know it's easy, it's easier. I'm very good at reading what the defender's going to do. I'm very good at anticipating what's going to happen next in the game. And I think that helps me because I'm usually one step in front of everyone else.
You said you brought up basketball. Basketball really helped you on the lacrosse field as well?
Yes, basketball helps a lot. I mean, you have just solid defense is the exact same movements, exact same slides, and you just learn playing basketball. it just kind of transfers over, just the game sense and like knowing it's all the same, just the same patterns and everything.
Crossing people over to get past me.
Yeah.
Well, talk a little bit about the recruiting process. You're going to Florida. When did you get recruited? What was that process like for you?
I got recruited, I committed my sophomore year in February. But before that, I was playing at the U15 National Tournament at the ESPN Sports Complex in Disney. And I hadn't really looked at colleges very much because it was just going in my freshman year. So I wasn't worried about college. I was just trying to worry about high school first. But Florida saw me play at that tournament, and they emailed my coach, kind of asking about me. And so my coach let me know, and I was like, hey, well, never thought of it, but I'll go check it out. And so I went to camp that winter, and I absolutely loved it. Like, loved the coaches, I met some of the players there, I loved them, and just loved the campus, everything about it. Like, there's nothing bad. And at that point, I hadn't even really looked at that many other colleges. Like, Florida was my first visit, and after I went, I was like, this is it. Like, I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to see anymore. This is where I want to go.
Winters in Florida aren't bad either, right?
Not bad at all.
All right. Well, who is your favorite player to play against here?
My favorite player to play against is probably Alexandra Kugler. She's on Battlefield, which is our arch rival, but I grew up with her, and her mom was one of my very first lacrosse coaches. So playing with her over the years, I get to know her, and I know her style of play just like she knows mine. So we push each other to be better, and we really have worked together against each other, if that makes any sense. Playing against each other has made us both better players individually.
Okay. Well, in your high school career, what was your favorite game?
Favorite game in my high school career? That was probably my sophomore year against Battlefield again. We had already beat them one time, and then the second time we played them, they were ready for us, and they played a very tough game. And I remember it was back and back the entire game, and I remember it was a tied game, and they had the ball on attack with probably 40 seconds left, something like. And so we were trying to get the ball back, but not pressure too much because we didn't want to get them by. So that was very stressful, but we ended up getting the ball back. And I just remember I was winded at that point. I was so tired, but I knew I had to sprint down. So I remember I just dug deep and sprinted down the field, got the ball, and finally hit that last second buzzer shot. It was on a free position. And there was 10 seconds left in the game, but that was enough. We were up by 1, and it was game. And that was probably the most stressful but really, really fun game. I think that was also our senior night that year, too. So that was really great to experience with all of our seniors because they, that was the first time they got to beat Battlefield, too. And so it was just a really good season. That was a really good season in general, but that game especially on senior night, everybody was so happy. Everybody played well as a team. Teammates played awesome. It was a really, really fun game to play.
Awesome. Well, is there a player in the area or a team that you didn't get a chance to play against that you wanted to?
I really wanted to play against Robinson again. We played them in regionals, and we definitely had things to work on. They're a great team, but I really wanted to play them again and just see what we could have done. If we were to take what we had and fix it, I wanted to play them again so we could just see what we could do the second time.
All right. Well, what do you feel that you want to improve on going into college?
Going into college, I definitely want to improve on one-on-one defense. I definitely think I can step that up some, and I want to work on that. Definitely want to work on cutting off ball because I'm more of I like to drive with the ball first and create my own shot, but I definitely want to work on cutting off ball so I can get the feed from my teammate and finish it.
Okay. What are you going to miss most about playing in high school, and what do you look forward to most about college?
What I'm going to miss in high school is definitely playing multiple sports. I think playing field hockey and basketball and lacrosse kind of gave me more of like an appreciation for lacrosse, because you hear about athletes like focusing on one sport and burning out, and they just end up hating it and don't want to do it again. And I think like playing multiple sports has kind of given me something to look forward to, because I'll be like in field hockey season, like, man, like can't wait for lacrosse season to come around, or same with basketball. And it's just like a nice balance between sports, and I really, really will miss that.
Okay. Well, the last question I have for you, coming out to watch a guys game, they're all padded up. Coming out to watch a girls game, you have goggles. Who's tougher, guys or girls?
Who's tougher? It's hard to say who's tougher, because you have to respect the guys. It's really, boys lacrosse and girls lacrosse is just a very different game, you know. My brother plays boys lacrosse, so like I've seen all of his games, and they're definitely much more aggressive, like, you know, more contact and everything. So they have to learn to take a hit, but I mean, sometimes, like, they have pads, like we get hit in our head and nothing happens. So, but no, the girls' game is more about like stick work and like kind of like finessing the ball and stuff. For the boys, it's just more physical. It's more like strong, ripping shots. So it's just a very different game, the two of them. But I couldn't tell you who's tougher. I'd like to say the girls, but I'm sure everybody would argue that. But
Your brother have a little bit to say about it, though?
oh, my brother likes to push me around in the backyard all the time.
All right. Well, Lexi, thank you so much for joining us today. Lexi Bolton, the best name in women's sports today. Thank you.